The Tabletop TV program is for mature audiences only.
Okay, cameras are rolling. We're live in 3, 2...
Thanks for tuning in to Tabletop TV.
Hello and welcome for the first time to Tabletop TV, the TV show where you have to imagine everything that's happening on screen. My name is Reed B, and for most of these episodes, I'm going to be your host and game master. But what, you may be asking, is Tabletop TV? Well, in short, it is an actual play podcast, which is a term that means a podcast where people actually play tabletop role-playing games. For example, D&D. For those of you who have never heard of a tabletop role-playing game, or D&D before, you must be quite lost. How you've ended up on this corner of the internet, I'm not sure, but it's okay. You are welcome here. Now, sit back and relax as I explain the gist of what happens under the hood here at Tabletop TV. Oh, and for the more specifically inquisitive viewers out there who know what a TTRPG is, but just want to know how Tabletop TV is specifically different, there are timestamps below so you can jump around. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Tabletop role-playing games are essentially games where a group of people collaboratively tell a story, using dice to determine outcomes when they would otherwise be uncertain. So, for example, you're trying to scale a large cliff. Roll some dice to see if your character can do it. Now, most of the people in this group of people playing the game are considered players, who each play one character and act as protagonists of this story. Players will build their characters to be good at certain things and have certain abilities that allow them to succeed at some roles more than others, making them good at those things. For example, a player may build a character who is skilled at being strong and athletic and acrobatic. So this character will be more likely to succeed on roles to climb things, throw things, and be a generally strong individual, which enables the fiction of their character being good at that thing. Now, one member of this group is not considered a player, but the game master. Now, the game master is called different things across different systems. Sometimes they will be referred to as a dungeon master for the classic Dungeons & Dragons game, and other games may have a different title for them. But the universal title that I often use is game master. Now, the game master's job is to run the characters in the story that aren't the players, the background characters, the bad guys, the shopkeeper. And it's also their job to carve out interesting story moments for the PCs to react and adapt to. PC is the abbreviation of player character, which just refers to a character in the story that is played by one of the players at your table. Now, there are many different types of tabletop role-playing games, or TTRPGs, as the pros call them, but they usually rely on those core principles. So what TTRPG do we play here at Tabletop TV? Well, that's where we're a bit of a departure from some longer form actual plays you may be familiar with. We switch up the game every 2 to 3 episodes or so. Yes, that's right, we switch to a new rule set, setting, and story after we've concluded a couple sessions worth of play. There are so many exciting TTRPGs out there, and I simply couldn't just pick one. If this sounds confusing, don't worry. You don't need to know all the nitty-gritty of all the rules that are happening. However, before the launch of a new arc using a new system, I will release a brief primer on the rules of the game we're about to play, called As Seen on TV. It's an optional listen, but for those who want to know all of the cool stuff happening under the hood, this may be helpful. Earlier, you may remember I said that these storytelling games are collaborative, and told with a group of people. Who, you may be asking, are these other people? I've only heard you so far, Reed B. Well, here's where Tabletop TV is another slight departure from your usual actual play. We have a bit of a rotating cast. Right now, we're a group of 6 people, but if you know anything about scheduling, you know that a group of 6 is hard to schedule for. So the way this podcast is set up allows me to record an arc when a good handful of them are available, edit it, release it, and then start a new arc with the next handful of people that are available. I'm really excited for you to eventually meet them all. The people that I lucked into being able to play TTRPGs with are some of the funniest, smartest, craziest people I know, and frankly are the only reason you're listening to my voice on air right now. I'll have them introduce themselves at the beginning of each episode, and you'll get to know them as time rolls on. There is another member of this show not on the cast that I'd like to shout out real quick, Sophia. She is our wonderful artist and one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and she made the banner for this show. If you're watching this in the future, she's also likely made any of the other official show-related art you've seen. If you want to commission her, I've linked her socials in the description below. Finally, as excited as I am to kick off this podcast, I understand that nothing ever starts out perfect. I'm editing everything myself, and while I have a bit of experience in video production, Audacity is a beast I have yet to completely familiarize myself with. I won't lie, the audio quality in certain places of our very first episode is not incredible, and I promise the quality will continue to increase throughout the duration of this podcast. On top of that, while I wish I lived in the same place as all of my friends, we play all of our games via the World Wide Web using our own microphones and setups. Until we can reasonably finance mics for our cast, you'll likely notice some slight dissimilarities in mic quality. I don't believe it takes away from the enjoyment of the experience too heavily, but it's worth noting. Thanks for giving our little podcast a chance, dear viewer. I hope it gives you a laugh or two and perhaps introduces you to a cool TTRPG you've never heard of before. Thanks for listening to the end, and thank you for tuning in to Tabletop TV.